November 3rd, 2013. This is the X-ray flux chart out of Boulder. You can see that we had a steady rhythm of flares, guys. The last one that you see is Earth facing, and it not only was a flare, but it had a coronal mass ejection that you see here on stereo A. Now, A is ahead of Earth in orbit around the Sun looking back. This is the view from B, behind Earth, looking forward. Again, these are opposite sides. Now, this is an Earth-facing image, and you can see coming out the bottom there. And the Earth is going to take a glancing blow from this. I'll show you on the flare tracker. It's not an X flare, but it's a M flare with a coronal mass ejection. So it's impressive. You can see the amount of energy that left the sun there. But guys, what's happening is 1884, the sunspot that yesterday was had went back to a dual configuration, has went back to a magnetic three-way beta gamma delta. Now you see the flash there, that is the sunspot with the green flash. That is the one we've been watching. But look to the left coming around the sun. That is one of the reasons it's been so bright. If you notice the last few days, the entire sun is hot. But coming around on this left side, which is what we're going to be dealing with, is I think they've named them now since this chart 1890, the sunspot group, and I think it's on the other one. But this is 1864. This is the one we've had the threat of X flares, and this is the one today, and that one will be turning away from us. But here you can see that 1884 has went back to beta gamma delta. That's on the third, right there. At the bottom of the chart is 1890. Now it's just rated now as just a single configured group, but it's a large group. There's about 3 sunspots actually that look like they're growing, and they're larger than what we've been dealing with. Our X flare capable sunspot is turning towards Ison. These are turning to Earth, and they will continue to turn in the next 3 weeks as we watch Ison come in. It's going to have a steady bombardment of these flares. The sun is really getting active. Look, you can see in the yellow dot is Earth as the flare goes across us now. This is what we're about to be dealing with. This is 1890, the group. Like I said, it's not just one sunspot. But look at the size of 1890 compared to 1884 that's X-class capable. Now, that to the right is where Ison's coming from. But look at the brightness again. This is Earth-facing images from SDO. And the magnetic lines of force on the left side of the sun are arcing out for thousands and thousands of miles. And it's brighter than normal. There's that whole group, it seems to be looping together. Looks like it's going to be an active week. Again, every 27 days, you've got a full rotation. So about every 7 days, you have a quarter rotation. Now, so once a week, you're going to go from that side on the left to dead center, looking at Earth from this Solar Dynamics Observatory. And look at the energy around it. Look at the top up there, that twister. Amazing the size. You see a lot of small ones, but that's an unusually large one. Now it's kind of on the back side behind the halo. But there's actually 2 at the top, one on the left and right. The SDO is one of the best satellites that I've ever seen for this type of imaging. Pull it up closer. You may have to look at it in HD to see those spirals. And a lot of energy. This is also SDO from a different camera. You can see that X flare on the right. And again, look on the left, that's what's coming. So if we thought that the solar maximum was not going to be impressive, we were wrong, because it did get quiet for a while. Again, you see the other flare off the left side there. That's 1890, guys. Now, with Ison coming in, I think it's going to activate it even more. The timing of the universe is not set by man. And so we've got a solar maximum. We have Ison coming in. I don't care what you say, guys. If you don't think that Ison's having an effect, I know 90% of you realize what's going on, but the other 10%, you need to at least know the basics of electronics before you say it's a snowball, and it cannot affect the sun. Look at the power here. Pull this up. Again, even on this filter, you can see the brighter glow on the left side of the halo of the sun if you'll notice it. Pull that up. See the dates at the bottom right there. So now, guys, this is a unique view. This is stereo behind. That is what's coming around to the right. This is not SDO. This is not Earth facing. You're looking at the back side of the sun, and on the right is the 1890 group that's about to turn Earth facing. Earth is to the right. Now, just the opposite here in A. From A, you're kind of got the view if you were riding Ison, and that's what it's seeing coming in there. To the left is our X-class flare in the bottom corner. Excuse me, our X-class sunspot 1884. Now, got a question I want to show you on this model. It was about observing Ison through this month. Just point out a couple things. Got the day's date at the top set, November 13th. You can see Venus there as we go around. There's Earth. And something, guys, they have just added was the moon onto this Ison 3D model. It wasn't there at first. It's pretty neat. It shows you the full rotation, and you can pull it to the time of this morning where they had the partial solar eclipse by the moon that was shown on a lot of different sites. You can see right where the moon was at and why you had that particular eclipse. But we're looking at the dates here, and if we go up, that's the 4th, here's the 5th. Now let's look at the distance. 82 million miles, let's go the 6th, 79. So you see that by the 6th, Ison has went from 2 million miles a day to 3 million miles a day. So we're in that time where it's going to speed up. 1 million miles a day is quite an acceleration. Notice also it has passed through the orbit of Earth and is between the orbit of Earth and Venus at this point. We'll pull this up. Now again, I'm 3 days advanced. Let's go back to today, the 3rd. Pull this down. But guys, we're talking about observing this. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's going to be more favorable because as we look at this, Ison is going to be diving below the flat ecliptic plane of the solar system. Now, all the planets aren't exactly ecliptic, especially if you look at Mercury. And from the Earth, you can see to the right, if you can observe Mars, Ison is between Earth and Mars, and it's taking the full brunt of those solar flares that we saw last week. Now, the one today again is Earth facing, but all that's about to change. And we're going to have an X-class capable sunspot turning into Ison's face as I go through this. Now, we'll pull this down. This is going up to the, you see we're at the 16th, 2 weeks away. Pull it up. We wrap around on the 28th, come back over. And you can take this model, I'll put a link to it, and go through, and if you any of the questions on where it's going to be or when it's going to pass through the debris trail of Ison, which you go through and you'll see it's January 15th. And this one, now that they've added the moon to it, shows the moon going right kind of between Earth and the debris trail on that day. I'll show you it's going to be to the outward side of the Earth. So bring that around. Again, I'm not sure what date they added the moon. Hope that wasn't a hint, but right here it went through on the 15th. I'll pull this back. That blue line is the incoming trail of Ison that we're looking at now. So we pull through, you see that there comes the moon around, the small gray dot there. So Earth, the moon, Venus, it's going to be in alignment as the sun's, excuse me, as Ison's going over us. I'm going to pull this up and let's look at it from the bottom of the solar system. I'm going to back it up a few days. Now, if we come back, you'll see that Ison comes straight over the Earth. Let's go to that date. Now, this is just the model. We're looking to see if it will hold together, what exactly Ison's made up of, what it's going to do. But right there on the 3rd of January, you should be able to get a good view of it by this model, by looking at Polaris and North Star. Now, let's just let it run through. Would be kind of the view from one of the satellites watching Ison come in. You can see the Earth and the Moon to the right there go over. And again, this is just the model. And some of the scientists are saying that it's acting strange, but it's a beautiful object. You've seen in the last few videos some of the pictures of Ison. We'll see if we can get some new ones. But I hope these answer some of those questions, guys. It's a heads up. It's going to be an interesting week with the sun coming up. Be safe.